Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. So today I've got the next 3 stages of the Toyota Supra for you. Today it looks like we've got a very large chunk of metal, so let's get into it. Let's get building.
Welcome to the workshop, tools in the light, screws and glue, they're holding it tight. Piece by piece, it's a builder's delight, making dreams in the still of the night. Let's get into it, let's get building now. Put it all together, I'll show you how. Screw by screw and a little glue too. Welcome to the workshop, it's waiting for you.
Right, so just before we get into the magazines, I figured I'd show you the free gift that we got this time. And we actually got some very nice looking posters. Now obviously the box that they come in, they do end up a little bit curled up, but if you put these in a frame they should be absolutely fine flatten out. So we've got a really nice picture there. We have another image of Fast and Furious. Not sure, was that ever in the Fast and Furious? Is that a Fast and Furious print? Not sure. And we have this one, which I think is from the 4th film, possibly, maybe the 5th one. Let me know in the comments. Tell me where this one's from. But have those very nice posters, which we'll put to one side. And we kick off this build pack with issue 3. So, I'll give you a quick run through the magazine. Now, as I said before, we do get a magazine with every single stage, and obviously it gives you plenty of information about the cars, etc., Toyota themselves, it seems, and Fast and Furious as well, all about the franchise. Now, as you can see, we do have the bonnet, or hood. So, when I said we had a large chunk of metal, that's what we got. And it looks like we're actually doing a little bit with our bumper as well. Alright, so we just get this one opened. Now it is probably worth keeping hold of this packaging, because if the skyline is anything to go by, we're not going to be using this bonnet for quite some time. And keeping the packaging means you can keep things nicely protected, like I've got the front bumper there. So here is our bonnet, looking absolutely fantastic in that lovely orange. That's the underside there. And what I'm going to do with it is pop it back in here, because we're not doing anything with that in stage 3. What we are doing in stage 3 is grabbing our bumper from the last stage, and you can see I've got the lights in here as well, just to keep them all safe and together. The first thing we're going to be doing is taking these orange lenses, and you'll notice we've got 2 sets, got a larger set and a smaller set. We also have these silver parts. And we're basically just going to assemble these as lights. Now, before you take them off the sprue, they are marked R and L. And these are also marked R and L. So do make sure you get them the correct way around. So if we start off with the right hand side one, which is this one. That's quite simply just going to push into the front like so. So we have that one. Do the exact same thing for the left hand side. Now you'll see that these lugs actually go off at an angle. Obviously, all you need to do is match that angle to the light bucket itself. Get that one pushed in as well, like so. Now, I don't think they're going to need gluing, They hold themselves in quite nicely. Same with that one. I've said it before, if you do glue these, use something like this. This is canopy glue. It will dry clear and it will not fog the lenses. We're then going to take our bumper, and again, just noting which one is left and which one is right. We're going to take this and put it into the section you see here. Now notice there's one lug and one hole. The lug is going to go on the outer part and push through that hole just there. And then the other side, we're going to secure it with a KP screw. Now, if you're doing this on your workbench, obviously go get yourself a mat or a towel or something, just to make sure that you don't scratch up the front of this. Just making sure that lug is pushed all the way in. Now, obviously, I'm just holding this in my hand, which is perfectly fine. Again, just going to do the same thing for this side. Make sure that lug goes into that hole. Now, they have designed this that the lug will only fit in one of the holes, I believe. So get that pushed all the way in and secure it with this KP screw. Just like that. Now we're going to turn our attention to these ones. And again, you'll notice there's an R and an L before I take that off there. And we hopefully will have matching right and left on these parts as well, as you can see. So we'll start off with the right hand side. So that's going to go on this side. And all we need to do is put the lens in like so. And then follow the back side up with this. Just pushing over those lugs. Right, takes a bit of force to push that in, but we have that in. Going to do the exact same thing for the left hand side. So just taking our lens, popping it through there, like so, and then securing it with this silver part. Again, just has to take a little bit of a push to get it to go all the way in, but obviously once it is in, it's nice and secure and it's not moving around and not loose. And that is all to do in that stage. So we will move swiftly on to stage 4. I'm leaving the bonnet where it is because I do know we are going to do something with it in this stage. So we have the steering wheel and hood reinforcement. And you can see we are going to be actually assembling that. And we even have the steering wheel to start assembling as well. And we still even have more for the front bumper there. Right, so the very first thing we're going to need is our bonnet reinforcement. Now, this is a plastic part, but I still painted it in that brilliant orange. We're going to take this small catch and push it into the 2 holes at the front here. Now, the lugs are angled, so it will only go in one direction and actually sit flush. And then we have this little catch, which looks like it goes in this way. It clips onto that part we've just placed in. So we have that sort of mechanism. So you can see that's the bonnet release catch. That's a bit of an attention to detail if that actually physically works. But very nice little detail, I think. I'm just going to hold that to one side for a second, because we do need our bonnet, and we've got all the vents here that we're just going to place in. And it's just a case of matching up the shapes. They are painted on both sides, so I don't think there's a right and a wrong way up. So we've got those 4 in like so. And to hold them in place, we're going to take our reinforcement and hold all of that together like that. Now we have several TM screws to hold this in place. So there's 10 TM screws we're going to place in this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now this is where a cloth or a mat is going to be beneficial to you, because it means you can place the bonnet down like this. Now we are going into metal, so I'm just dipping this in some oil, and that'll just help the screw cut through all the paint, etc. in the threads here. Just use 3-in-1 oil or WD-40, but any oil will just give you that little bit of assistance when screwing these together. Now these are countersunk screws, so they do go and sit in nice and flush. But it'd probably been nice to have these in orange, but don't think that's going to be an issue really. Right, so last one of these screws going in there. And that is our bonnet. Looking absolutely fantastic with all the vents in there. So I'm going to leave that to one side. Now, as I said, what I'm going to do is actually just pop it into this packaging like so. And then popping the lid on. Slight problem with that. We've got these 2 parts here, which will not allow it to go through. So I think I'll just leave it like this, but what I'll probably do is I'll cut this off. That way it can sit down in there perfectly, and it will keep that bonnet nice and safe until such point as we need it. Right, we're now turning our attention to the steering wheel. We basically have these 3 parts. We have this piece and this piece. Now this is going to sit like so, and then we're going to have this pass through like that. Right, so I think there may have been a slight change to the instructions since, or change to the parts since the instructions. In the instructions, we actually have another collar here, which is obviously missing on this one. I'm going to show you the instruction that we're looking at. So you can see it got the part at the bottom, collar in the middle, and you can quite clearly see there's another collar there. Now, I'm guessing that collar would have prevented that from falling all the way down at some point. But that's obviously just going to float all the way down. We got a flat section on here, so just going to put that on there, just rotate it until it sits on properly and sits nice flat against there at that point. Obviously that should probably sit up there, and presumably when we put this in the dash, that's not going to be a problem. It's going to sit up there anyway. So I'm just going to carry on with that bit floating around like that. Now to secure that, we need a CM screw. We'll just get that CM screw in there, like so. And then we're going to take our steering wheel. Now it has one lug on there, as you can see, and 3 holes to secure. So that's just going to go that way up, lining up those 3 holes, and we're using these silver TM screws to hold that in place. So we've got our steering wheel looking just like that. Now, I'm sure they could have probably come up with a better way of doing that other than those silver screws like that, but it's not too bad. I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to bring our bumper back over again. As we have more lights. Now, these items are identical. They're not marked left and right, etc. And all we're going to do is basically push all these parts together. Now, I have a feeling that's probably going to come out. There we go. It's a little bit too loose, so I'm inclined to probably glue that one. Just a little tip for you. When pushing the fog light in, it does need to be pushed all the way to the back. If you use a little cotton stick, it means you can give the lens a bit of a clean out on the inside, and that way you don't leave fingerprints on that chrome part. Now we just get these pushed in. Now if they do continue falling out, I will glue it. And again, just going to say it again, canopy glue, not super glue. What PVA glue will also work. It won't fog the lenses. That's in there for now, so we'll leave it like that for now. Now those are just going to go into the holes you see here, and we're going to do that from the back like that. We're going to secure that with an IM screw. I'm just going to do the exact same thing for this side. So that's looking like that with those fog lights in. We now need to take these 2 grills, and they're going to sit in like this. Now they will need a little bit of a bend just to get them to sit and conform to the contour there. But we're just going to secure those in with 2 SM screws in each of those. Now I have just noticed actually they do have a left and a right marked on these grills, but they are symmetrical, so theoretically, and as it happens I managed to get it in the right way around, but obviously there's no reason why that one wouldn't fit in that place or vice versa. Just got that one going in there as well, and that's the last screw for that bit, and that is all there's to do in that stage. So that moves on to the last stage in this pack, which is issue 5 and final flick through this final magazine. As you can see, what we're doing now, very similar to what we did with the Skyline, we're now moving on to the engine. So we've got the top of the engine block. Now you always know something's going to be fiddly when they give you tweezers. I do have a couple of, that's metal, these parts are plastic. Thought we had a bit more metal in there then, but it's just that piece. First thing I'm going to do is take our spark plugs and just push them into these black parts. Now I've got 3 of these to do, and they're all identical. So it will look like that. It's going to do that for the other 2. So they are going in so that they are opposite each other. So effectively mirror image. So they are looking just like that. And with those in, we're then going to take them and pop them through the block. So I'm now assuming that although we put those in, they're going to be completely invisible. Now there is a bigger and smaller hole when putting these in, so they will only go in one way around. So we've got those in there like so, but I am sure that when it comes to the final assembly of the car, it's going to be completely hidden. We're then going to take this piece, so we're even hiding those parts that we've just put in there. It's one of those things that we know it's there. Anyone else looking wouldn't. So that's like that. We then have this cap. It's got a D-shaped hole and a D-shaped lug. Just going to push that on like so. Then we have this part here. This is the crankcase ventilation filter, apparently. We're just going to push that onto the end of that pipe, like so. And then this is going to go into the side of the engine just here. Wrong side. That's why it wasn't going in. It's going to go on that side. Like so. And that is actually all there is to do in that stage. So we're not doing anything with this piece at the moment. Now, presumably, at some point, we're going to have the engine like that, I guess, or even that side, one way around or the other. So those are entirely invisible when they're done, but I guess we know they're there. Same with those bits that go on the top there underneath this silver panel. But that is all there is to do in that stage, and that is all there is to do in that build pack. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to hit the like button below and give us a massive thumbs up. So I believe that now concludes the teaser portion of the Toyota Supra. Now I say teaser portion because every company does it. They give you a very large part, nice and shiny, that you're not going to use for quite some time going forward. But obviously it does give you a sense of the build quality, the paint finish, etc. And in some cases, the sense of scale as well. Obviously, if this is your first 1/8 scale vehicle, then putting those two parts together certainly gives you an idea of the sense of size that you're going to get with it going forward. Obviously, that's pretty much the entire front end. So yeah, going to put these somewhere nice and safe. Probably again in the packaging as I showed you. That way it'll keep it scratch free, dust free, etc. until such point as we actually need to use it. Just a thought actually on the front bumper here. I did notice a few issues after issue 1 and 2 came out. A lot of people were saying that they couldn't mount the lights to the front bumper. Well, don't worry, because I can't either, and I think there's a very good reason for that. I believe these lights are going to be mounted to the car, not the bumper. So these will be on the car, and then the bumper will get mounted to the car, and it will line up perfectly like so. So do not worry that you don't have any holes, etc., mounting brackets, etc., on the bumper for the lights. They're not meant to be there in the first place. So don't panic on that. If you want to get this for yourself, obviously this is a brand new build, so it's definitely available on Fanhome's website, and the links will be in the description below. Now, at the time of recording, I do know if you want to add to your Fast and Furious collection, the Skyline is still available, but there's also one other car which I also have my eyes on that will look very iconic next to this Toyota Supra, and that is Dominic Toretto's Dodge Charger. So that might, in future, come to the channel if it's still available at the right time when it comes to maybe finishing the Skyline or one of the other builds I've got going on at the moment. So you never know, that might be coming to the channel. If you want to see how this one progresses or anything else that comes to the workshop, do remember to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell for notifications. That way you won't miss out on future videos. Until the next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.